Hey, it's your girl Cedes, host of the Black Millennial Mom podcast, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're a millennial mother or father, this podcast is for you. We talk about the real struggle the parenting journey comes with, and these conversations tend to get a tad bit spicy. So this is a space where parents can be themselves and may use some colorful language, if you know what I mean, from time to time. So if your little ones are around, this might be the perfect moment to slip on those headphones and take a break for a second. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Black Millennial Mom podcast. It's Pride Month. We're celebrating, and I have some homies here with me to kind of talk about their journey. I'd like to introduce Jenna and Tanaia here as my favorite couple who are here to help me with my Pride episode. Now, you guys have how old is she? Three-year-old. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then you've got one in the tummy cooking right now.
Yes, I do. Almost 8 months, yes.
So 2 kids.
Yes.
And it's not 2 under 2, but it's going to feel like it's 2 under 2 for you guys. I would take it, right?
Probably, yes.
Now, I want to talk about how you guys actually met, how you guys got together. What was that journey like for you guys? Can you give me the background on that?
We might have to give you the cliff notes on that.
Okay, the cliff notes.
It is a long story that started 17 years ago.
Gosh.
So way back when nightclub was Trax. I don't know what it's even called anymore.
No, that's actually a good question. I don't know.
Is it still? I
Is
don't
it
know.
still Trax? I think it's still Trax.
They changed it to like the Expo or something.
Oh, the X bar or something. X. Yeah, they tried to get upgraded with it.
Anyway, but way back in the day, 17 years ago when it was Trax, didn't know each other, but I would see her a lot. And I was like,
outside.
Who is this? Yeah. So we had, was he a mutual friend?
No, he was your friend.
Okay, one of my guy friends, I was just saying how I thought she was so fine. And so he went up to her and grabbed her by the collar and was like, I have someone that I want you to meet. You tell this way better than me. I basically forced myself.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
You made sure you handled the situation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then we dated off and on probably. For a long, long time. I moved to Texas in the middle of all of that.
Yeah.
So we attempted long distance at one point, which
work.
Was not the best of ideas I think that we had. But yeah, I don't know. We probably like makeup to breakups like 4 times probably throughout the
But
past.
we always maintained being on good terms. It was never ugly. It was never messy. It was
always
never
friends.
Any of that.
For the most part, except for when you broke up with me by sending me an edible arrangement
thought
to
that
my
was a great
job.
idea.
No, you petty. You did not. The edible arrangement.
Yes.
Don't do me like that with chocolate strawberry.
But they were like new at that stage though, so it was kind of like,
brand new.
okay.
All right.
I guess
I feel
that's a
some
nice
kind of
way
way
to
about
break
that.
up.
Like an edible arrangements, how she got down with it?
Yes. So then, I don't know, like 8 years ago or so, I ended up moving back to Denver. We were still on good terms and all of that, but or I don't know, we weren't even talking, but it was no bad blood between us basically. So I had moved back to be closer to family. We still had a mutual friend, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm back in town, so bring her to my house before, so we can pregame before we go out. And then I was just on her head from then on out.
And it was,
basically.
I mean, that's pretty much the story. I mean, for the most part, and then I think at that stage, we're different, we're older, so either it was going to work or it just was not gonna work. And so we became a little bit more serious than we were before versus dating and you know, talking about actually building something together.
Who made it official? Who was the one that was like, okay, we doing this in real life? You are, you don't play.
I know what I want.
You take it seriously.
Yeah.
So she was always the one that was always kind of, I'm not sure if I want to get all the way serious. So for her to actually be in that space,
you knew it was for real at that point.
I knew it was different. I knew it was different.
And then from that point, then we go to marriage.
Well, yeah, I made her marry me twice.
Wait, twice, friend? How'd that work out?
Initially, it was like, well, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have a baby. There should at least be some paperwork, so let's do the civil union. So we did that before we started the baby process and all of that. And then when I was big pregnant with her, 7+ months with her, I'm like, well, we might as well like do the real one and let's just get married.
Right.
Yep. Well, we never had a wedding because we were doing IVF and all of that, which is
we'll get to that.
by price. So we just went to the courthouse, and
Who?
I drug her both times.
There you go. I love
She was
that.
a willing participant.
She does not play around. I would not expect her to be that,
Exactly.
like, that one. I thought it was more so you, friend.
No,
it's her.
It was me.
Who wanted the baby?
I think we both did.
Yeah.
You both wanted it.
We both knew we wanted it.
Okay. Now let's talk about the journey. IVF, right?
Well, we started with IUI.
Oh, okay. And tell me about that process. You guys were already married at this time, legally.
Right.
And you were like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
What was that trial like for you guys? Because I know it's a lot.
We could start from the journey of even picking donors. I think that's, you know, kind of where we initially started. And of course we have friends and, you know, all of that wanted to be a part of that journey. But then it was kind of like, no, it's a little bit close.
Right.
That's a little bit too close.
Right.
So we ended up doing California Cryobank and, you know, trying to find donors that are minorities and trying to find that balance.
Which I heard is hard.
It is.
Which I heard is very difficult to find minority donors.
Yep.
What's that? When you went into it, did you think it was going to be difficult, or did you guys already have a heads up, like, yo, we might run into an issue here?
I mean, you hear rumblings that, you know, it's more difficult to find, you know, black or even brown donors. So, but I don't think, for me anyways, I don't think I realized how difficult it was going to be, because, you know, it's like ordering food almost. It's like, I want them to be 6 feet tall and this and
Six
blah, blah, blah.
pack. They better come stacked.
Right? They need to be this tall and, you know, have a college degree and all this stuff. So, but still, even if you, on California Cryobank, when you go in, you say bare minimum, I want them to be black. And literally that's it, just black. You're looking at 9 donors.
Oh my God.
I just actually looked at this for someone to prove this point, that like, because we picked our donor in, what, 2018? The first time.
First time, yeah.
First time with her,
2018. Yeah, it was slim pickings then, but someone was asking me about it over the last couple months, and I did this again to show them. 9 donors came up, and that's not even counting people.
Recently you did it again just to see.
Just to prove the point to them, to say, it's slim pickings out there.
Brat and Judy, they just talked about this in a live podcast too, that they were saying, yo, the chances of us getting what we wanted were just not there for us. And I didn't believe it, but hearing other people, even where I'm living at, saying like, yo, it's not gonna happen.
And they go fast too, so you better be ready to buy.
Fast.
Ready to buy.
And buy as much as you think you're gonna need, because initially, like I said, we started with IUI. That was a different donor from
IUI.
what we have made these kids with. So, because he was sold out.
Really?
After the IUI didn't work, and we went back to the drawing board to say, okay, we're gonna have to do IVF now.
And IUI didn't work out because?
I don't know that it was any particular reason, to be honest with you. I think it was just more so that the probability of IUI is very low compared to IVF. And so we went through IUI 3 different times. And it was still a no-go with
roller coaster.
And how is that for you? So let me back up a little bit. When choosing, making the decision who is going to carry, did you want to do this every time?
Yeah, I think it was always, we knew it would
Come on,
always
T, you
be me.
didn't say I'm a
We'll get to that part of the story. We'll get to that part of the story.
I volunteered up front, so
okay, so you
always gonna
volunteered.
be
And
me.
so what was the journey like, as far as in like the emotional roller coaster of what you were just speaking on? What was that like?
Well, it's a lot of pills, injections, tons of doctor's appointments for screening. A lot of the stuff that they do up front to make sure, like, are your tubes open? Is your uterus not scarred in an
You're
appropriate
going to doctors
place?
a lot then, I tell
Oh
you.
yeah, we lived at the doctors, basically. Like, tons of blood work. She was even having to do a lot of blood work.
Wow.
Some of the stuff they were having her do didn't even make sense as, like, not a hetero
They were just trying
couple.
to hit our pockets.
Yes, it was a money grab.
And
At the first clinic we were at, which is something else. But
And that's another thing too, I get that part of going to the doctors and doing that all the time, but the finances of the journey that you guys went under, is that stressful? Was that stressful to you guys? Was that overwhelming at any point? Because I know me, dollars and cents is all I think about, especially now that I have a child, because I'm like, I can't overspend, I can't do this. And so I get more stressed out just with the thought of it. So was that like, did you guys run into those issues?
I think we probably went through those issues individually. It wasn't something that we brought to the table where it's already stressful. So it wasn't like, well, this is something that we wanted. So I think we prepared for it as a couple. But of course you have your struggles, you know, individually. You're like, another thing, especially when it doesn't work and you're thinking about recalculating that over and over again.
Yeah.
And just figuring out the insurance aspect, what's covered, what's not, what do I have to pay up front, what do I have to fight with insurance about on the back end, which was a lot. But the emotional roller coaster more so I'm speaking of is that, you start on this high and you're like, yeah, it's just gonna take IUI, it's gonna be this first time, we're gonna be pregnant, it's gonna be great. It does work out like that for some people. That wasn't our story, but it's just a lot when you've gone through those 3 cycles, and it's like, for me, feeling like, I feel like I'm pregnant, this is it, this is good. And then you find out, it was a chemical or it didn't take or whatever.
It's a setback. It feels like a setback.
We took a break though for a while because it was emotionally
draining.
Too much.
Right. Yes. And so then you move over to IEF, right?
Yeah. Because that particular clinic, or in general, it was just recommended, if it hasn't happened with IUI in 3 times, you need to look at something a little more aggressive. So then we wrapped our minds around, okay, we're going to do IVF. Again, we took that, 4-month break?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Took the break.
Like 4 or 5
IVF.
months.
Okay.
Because we traveled. We
just needed to regroup as a couple and get off of the emotional roller coaster.
Right. And that's good that you did that too. I'm sure that was so healthy for you guys. To be able to just let's just go have fun for a second. Get out of that mindset.
Yep. And then we weren't happy with the clinic that we were at, which I don't know. As brown people.
No. Not after IUI, first IVF.
Oh, first IVF, that's true. We did do an IVF cycle with them.
Okay.
We made the embryos. I went through the retrieval, all that. So more drugs, more appointments. We did all that.
It's even more intense for IVF.
Yeah.
She probably still has bruises for them.
Wow.
Yeah, from some of the shots that you have to take, like the oil shots.
Oh my gosh.
So we did do a cycle with that first clinic. Didn't work. Well, we were very blessed. We ended up with 5 male embryos, 2 female embryos.
That was the first one?
Yeah, so this was the egg retrieval. We did genetic testing, so they told us we wanted to know what the sexes were because we knew we wanted a girl first.
Right.
So that first transfer that we did with the first clinic, unfortunately, did not work out.
And that's a way different type of stress.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a different type of
You got more money on the line.
Okay, that's why I said everything when you guys talk about this, that money part clicks like, oh God, draining my pockets again.
But they're already embryos at that point. So we're like, this is it. This has to be it.
It has to work.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that first transfer didn't work, and we were devastated. I remember,
that was hard.
Our nurse calling me, didn't even give me a second, are you busy? Are you working? Do you want to get your spouse on the phone?
Right.
She's like, yeah, you're not pregnant. So it was a day. I had to leave work, go to my mom's house. I was a hot mess.
Take a moment.
Yes.
Take a whole moment. And the fact that even that hearing that caring part of it, maybe bracing someone with that emotional hurt, just kind of throwing it on you is that's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
That would really hurt my feelings. I ain't gonna lie. I probably could file a complaint. I ain't even gonna lie. I want to talk to her, put in a complaint.
So after all of that, with that particular clinic, we were feeling like there wasn't that connection with us as individuals. We felt like dollar signs and numbers. So we had heard from some other couples that we knew that they used a different clinic that was local. I like very blunt, straightforward approach, tell me what it is and what it isn't, and then we can work with that. Not well, maybe
you had chances if you keep giving me all your money.
Yes, exactly. So we were nah. So we decided okay, we're gonna move our embryos to this new clinic, which to move them, I just felt like it was a lot of doom and gloom. You won't have success if you move your embryos.
Just to move them was already.
Yeah, and I'm give me the paper. I'm signing them. I'm bringing the tank. We're moving them. It's
Let's
over.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, her and her mom drove the tank to the new clinic.
Pack them up.
I heard that together.
Pack them up.
Right. It shouldn't be this difficult. Let's get it done. Even hearing as I'm listening to you guys talk about it, all of these steps, all of these journeys to go through, it's just constant documents, constant doctor's appointments. It's stressful, and keeping a straight, just a calm, happy sense is hard.
Yes.
And it sounds like a roller coaster.
Yes, absolutely. So then we moved to this new clinic. Phenomenal. We had a great experience with them. Shameless plug, Dr. Bush at Conception. Yes, that is why we have our family, this one and our daughter. But yeah, he was great. He said, this is what we need to do. I felt, the care was much better. Everything was tailored to like my personal blood work. It wasn't like, here's a form letter of what you should do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out.
So you were at peace finally.
Yeah, finally at peace. We had our embryos in a nice.
What year was this?
Good, safe place. This was
26.
this was 2019.
2019.
Late 2018 when we moved
2018.
them.
When you moved them.
Yep.
And then when you finally became pregnant.
Was January 2019.
January 2019.
Yeah, so we started this, if y'all are keeping track, in 2017.
Yeah.
So how many years is that? 2.5?
2.5.
Before it worked.
Yeah, before it worked.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, and I think just because of the emotional roller coaster, we were like in disbelief, I feel like.
Yeah.
When it
Do you still remember that moment when you found out that you were pregnant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, and that's where it comes in as far as us losing that first embryo, because she was so devastated.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it.
That's when you were ready.
That's when I was like, I'll step in and do it, because we knew that we wanted it.
Yeah.
And she was like, just let me try.
I love that. You were still holding strong.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that for her, that you wanted to keep going. Because a lot of people that I even know in my group and close friends, like, if it don't work out, it don't work out.
Right.
And that's it for them. You know what I'm saying? But they only got one go around. So it really takes some mental game to be able to get in that place, for sure.
So then when we did find out that we were pregnant with her, and we did a urine test before we did the blood test this time around.
Yeah, that was our trick, because I didn't want the clinic to call us and I had no idea if it worked or if it didn't. At least I was going to feel better. We were going to feel better if we knew it was negative. I knew what they were going to say on that phone call versus like it'd be the first time we knew if it worked or not.
Right.
So we did it.
Yeah.
And she did it, and we just let it. We just sitting down waiting.
I was nervous.
And I went in there to check.
You checked it first?
I checked. And then I was like, you're pregnant. And she just cried.
I heard
and she's
that.
not a crier.
I don't
She's
cry.
not a crier at all. And so she was overly emotional about the entire situation. And then
I
it
feel
was
like it just thinking
You fit right. You want to cry, right? I get it. I understand.
Yep.
I want to talk about, so now we know you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Now we're here
This
with
is
another
2019.
one. Oh, with
Yeah, we're
with
going
the
to
first
start there
one.
because she was born when?
September 2019.
September 2019. Okay. So as new moms coming into this situation, you now have the baby here. The baby is here, but now we're in a pandemic. Right? And it's funny, I would see you post so much, and when you were posting of her, I was pregnant. So it was funny. It was cool to see your journey, and I was kind of like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Right.
You talk about roller coaster. You got the kid a roller coaster. Like, I gave my kid a roller coaster. Put it in the living room. Bad idea. 90 days later, it was out.
Yes.
I was kind of learning through your journey, but I never got a chance to really have a sit-down conversation with you about what it was like as far as in dealing with the pandemic, new parents. You get what I'm saying? Two moms in this world. How was that journey for you guys? Was there a lot of give and take with growing? Were you leaning on family? Like, where were the struggles at for y'all the most?
I feel like to me it's still such a blur.
I feel that way too sometimes.
like, I mean, she was going to a sitter after 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, because I was back to work.
Yeah,
against
I
my
was back
will.
in too.
But yeah,
But I had a nanny come to the house because I wasn't playing them games. But I was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to.
Yep. And so when the pandemic hit, she came home and we were all home. And I think it just forced us to kind of be like, okay, we're doing this. Like, we're getting to know each other real up close and personal. And so spending that much time all together just in the house, yeah, it was stressful. She has to work. I have to worry. We have a couple-month-old baby in the back that's still like, hey, what about me?
Right.
So I don't know that we necessarily struggled, but it was definitely a change of pace, because that's kind of what you're thrown into, when something like that happens. And
how old was she when the pandemic, you guys had to bring her home?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
And how
So
long
she's
did you guys
inactive.
stay? Like with her being at home? How long did you last? I should say.
I never went back to the office to
Yeah,
this
she never
day.
did.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still 100% remote. I can't really remember. Do you remember when she went back to the
it
sitter?
had to be maybe a month or two, somewhere around there when things were starting to kind of calm down. But
Yeah.
I mean, she still was home
with you guys?
Couple months.
For the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just kind of balanced each other with it.
Like I have a call at 1 o'clock. Are you free? Can you keep her occupied?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Or waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get as much as you possibly can done, because you know that the moment that baby wakes up, it's go time.
Yep.
Did you struggle with like becoming a mom and learning how to do everything, or do you feel like it was natural for the both of you?
I feel like for the most part it was pretty natural and intuitive, but there are certain things that, like, I feel like you probably know that no one can prepare you for when you're like in the trenches. Like
In the trenches.
oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was going to be like this. But I think we both wanted to be mothers so much that it was like, whatever comes with it,
Right.
you know,
We'll just deal
You'll
deal
take
with
it
it.
and you go day by day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you guys are doing it now. Do you feel the same way as from the start?
With the second?
No, from the start of her.
Yeah, I mean, I will say we got really lucky. She's really a chill, calm, OCD Virgo baby. So she's very neat.
Right.
And she's not hyper or anything like that. She listens pretty well and all of that. So we got really lucky. I don't know about with this one, but with that one.
You got the boy in there, so it might look a little different. I already prepped you all.
Yes, but you know, she's been really easy for us. But I think through the pandemic to now, we kind of still, when she is home, do that whole like, I have a meeting. What can we do to occupy her?
Right. What can be done? Who can take shifts?
Yep.
Exactly.
But you guys, it sounds like you guys kind of just went into it. And you went into it and you're learning every day, but it's not as stressful as some people would think it would be from the first. It's like maybe because you guys both knew that you wanted to be moms. Right. And so you were preparing yourselves. Did you read books or do anything? Did you have conversations, both of you guys, with other people outside of just y'all?
I was reading a book right before she came called The Other Mother.
Okay.
And it was about, same-sex parents and what that looks like being the other one that's not carrying.
Yeah.
So that was a great book. And I may go ahead and read it again, to be honest with you, just because it was really that good when you're sitting on the other side of it. So, just trying to be supportive, yet still trying to find your place and trying to do that portion of it. I mean, that was something that I read. That was really good.
And you think she's doing a great job with that? Like the other side of it? Like, are you cooking, cleaning, picking up the toys, doing all that 24/7?
Yeah, it's not like, I don't know, we don't have like, I guess if you want to think of it that way, like hetero gender roles. It's like whatever needs to be done.
It's done.
It gets done. It's not like, I'm the chef, I'm the primary person. So if I'm not cooking, everyone's starving.
You know what's funny with men, I had a conversation, I did another episode with all fathers, and we were having that conversation. It's like, you'll be watching the Nuggets game, but there's 10 bottles sitting there, and your kid's feeding is getting ready to happen. What's up with what's up? You washing these bottles or not? Do you feel like you guys are more in tune? Like y'all, like, I know this feeding's coming, so I'm gonna prep, I'm gonna have this ready. Is it better, like, is that how it is in that kind of household?
I would say so. I mean, she was phenomenal, like, with making sure the things were prepped and ready, and she does a great job even with her being a toddler now. Like, even before coming here, like, let me iron her clothes, do all this other thing. I'm on hair duty still, but
for sure.
like getting her ready and doing all of those kind of things. So I think, because we have been together, although off and on for almost 20 years at this point, that we know each other so well that some things are intuitive. Like, she knows things that I'm going to appreciate that's going to make my day easier, and vice versa. So I think we try to do those things for each other.
Now that you have a toddler and you currently have a little bunion in the oven right there, honey, going through, I know for me, putting my kid into daycares and dealing with other parents, and I'm a late person by nature, so I'm like, you'll see me running into the daycare, throwing my kid at the lady, see ya, and running back out, where other parents are more talkative and having conversation, the play date schedules, and trying to get them together. Have you run into any issues with other parents or any like daycares or anything like that, like just dealing with outsiders, not understanding the situation with you guys?
Well, we've been really lucky with our childcare scenario. So she's not starting school until this August. So we'll see. But as part of the IVF and IUI process, like if you're using donor tissue, they make you attend classes to talk to you about handling those situations. Like if you have a parent of a child who doesn't understand, like, how did this child come to be? How is your family this way? So we'll see. We'll probably be.
Yeah, we have neighbors. Like, we have 2 small neighbors, one her age, one's a little bit older, a couple years.
Yeah.
And they're outside playing, and Jenna overhears them, and they're like, "Where's your dad?" And our daughter's kind of like,
those questions have been already brought up. 4.
Yeah.
That little girl.
And that was last
4
year.
years.
This was last year, so this is like 2 or 3 years old.
How'd that affect you? Did it make you feel some kind of way?
Not really. I wanted to see what she was gonna say.
Okay, so you got close.
Yeah, so I was like,
while they playing in the grass, she's
right. Right. Let me hear exactly what they say.
and she was kind of like, kind of taken aback, like, I have 2 moms.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly how she sees it. Like, she doesn't see it any different.
Yeah.
And anytime even someone, you know, is just interacting with another parent, she's like, which one is your mom? Like, which mom? Which mom is coming to get you? And they're like, oh, I just have one mom.
Yeah.
So she just assumes that every family is like our family.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it's different, she's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's shocked that most people don't have 2 moms.
Right. She's like, you don't have this lifestyle?
How strange, you don't have 2 moms.
And so it doesn't, even seeing how she reacts to it doesn't bother you. You love the fact that she's understanding things. Is that how you're taking it in?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we knew we were going to start the conversations,
Right.
like, obviously on her age appropriate, but so she can understand, you know, we really wanted this baby.
Yeah.
We really wanted you, and this is what we did to make it happen. And
Yeah.
families look different. Some people have 2 daddies.
Yeah.
2 mommies, 1 mom, 1 dad, raised by their grandma, grandpa, whatever. So
And so my son has a half brother, and the conversations, like, you know, half the week he is gone at his mom's house, and so my son is now asking those questions like, where's mom? Where's Jalen? Where's Jalen at? Where's Jalen? And so having those conversations was like, dang, I didn't even think that would come up.
Right.
You know, you don't prepare yourself for explaining co-parenting and half siblings and things of that nature. But how you guys are approaching it, the way you're sounding, is in a calm sense, and it's not something that's triggering or. It basically shakes her up, your kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example for all parents in any of these situations, from co-parenting, getting raised by grandparents, all of that stuff, like approaching it calmly is what can help a child feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I'm
I mean,
saying?
I think we come from just different backgrounds too, as far as what our family dynamic looks like. You know, so that transition honestly was easy for us to help her understand and, you know, help her deal with it. Now, of course, we're going to deal with it probably on a different scale as she gets into school and what that looks like.
And it could grow.
And it's going to grow. But it was always something that I think we just knew we had to deal with.
Yeah.
Just going into this whole entire process, how do you not?
yeah.
And you were prepped and ready. I didn't know that they offer those kinds of classes, so that's really dope.
It's mandatory.
That's dope.
Yeah.
As heck that they offer that for sure.
Right.
Do you, as a mom, as a millennial mom, what struggles do you see yourself now with? Do you have any like struggles that you're still dealing with, or anything that you feel like is hard to get through?
I think for me, it's finding the balance, because I'm senior leadership in a very large tech company.
Yeah.
So finding the balance between, like, I love family life and all of that stuff, but I still want to be a bad bee in corporate America and keep climbing that ladder, you know? So I think that part is a bit challenging.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the company I work for, they're very much family first. So
yeah, that's dope.
it makes it really easy, especially with this pregnancy. They're like, don't stress, you want time out, come back when you feel like it. Like,
love it.
Stuff like that. So it's very much different this go round, but yeah, that's the biggest thing for me.
T, what about you?
For me, I mean, my job is stressful. So it's also finding that balance, because it's easy to come home, turn on the computer, you know, and be working up until bath time, and you realize you've missed 3-4 hours.
That's literally
with your
me.
kid.
I am 3 computers down. As soon as I get home, my kid's like trying to push the computers through to get to me. I'm like, oh, hey.
Exactly. So now it is trying to find that balance and making sure that I'm taking time out for myself, taking time out for them, it's going to be a whole new ball game when number 2 comes. And so, yeah.
As Black and brown mothers, it's a big deal to be able to share this space and to be able to give the education for a lot of the folks that are trying to figure it out. I talked about this a couple episodes ago, that the number one thing that millennial mothers are having problems with is balance. So you know that I have problems with it. All of my ladies are running into this issue, but somehow you guys are finding a way to make it happen.
Trying.
Daily, y'all are figuring it out, but you're working together to do it. So I can't thank you guys enough for coming through and being able to just give snippets
Thank you so
of what
much.
the lifestyle looks like. Again, we are celebrating Pride. It's the Black Millennial Mom podcast. I thank you guys so much for coming and joining.
Thank
you
you so
for
much
having us.
I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this episode of the Black Millennial Mom podcast. And you know, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Reach out on any of your favorite social media platforms by searching for @YourGirlCedes. You can find the Black Millennial Mom podcast on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And be sure to let us know what you think by leaving us a comment below.